Well, it's another weekend. I figured out that my K-tune shifter isn't gonna completely bolt up like I thought it would. So much for spending about 500 bucks to get that thing here. So I'm gonna do some grinding, and I also have a switch panel that I wanna make and put on. So those are probably only the two things we'll get done today. So let's get to it. Last night, I brought my shifter over and I thought it was just gonna fit. Because when you spend 450 bucks on something, you would think it would just bolt right in, but it doesn't. So in order to save me 130 bucks, something like that, and getting the adapter plate that goes here, I'm just gonna grind down this lip, since this is gonna be a K-Series car forever. I'm gonna grind this lip down, and then I'm gonna drill the two holes I have to drill anyways, and save a lot of money. So riv nuts up here, and then it should just bolt right in. It's gonna stay right here, and then I can get to making my switch panel up here for my ECU, fuel pump relay, battery isolator, and starter switch. So let's do a little bumping and grinding. There we have it. Just that little piece was in the way. So it's a good thing nothing caught on fire. So this isn't a race spec shifter, as you can see by the bend, but the K-tune shifter, as you can see, a bunch of holes in it. So see if I can get it. These two small holes right here are the front, and you're gonna have to drill for these holes. The base plate that raises it up, that's supposed to be a direct bolt-in, you're supposed to drill holes for it anyways. So the ones back here actually fit with the DC chassis, and I'm sure it does with the EGs and such. But if you use the adapter plate, you're using the big ones on the outside. But for this, I'm using the small ones. So you have to grind it down, and it's no fun. But luckily, fits nice just like that. And what you're going to want to do is that they supply Allen bolts for this, but actually they're direct threading to the chassis. So I'm going to get these in by hand. You don't have to tighten it down, because this is just for figuring out where the front two holes are going to go. Okay, so there, as you can see, there's a little bit of wiggle room. The front ones will keep it steady, since there's actual, there's like kind of countersunk, I guess, or whatever you call it. So feels pretty straight to me. So I'm going to walk over and get grease. And a great tip for when you want to drill holes through something and you can sort of mount it up in place. Just put a little grease on the end of the tips of the bolts, and then you can just drop them down in place where they need to be. Wiggle it around a little bit, press it in, do whatever, and then you pull it out and you have your hole. Or realistically, I could probably just use a drill bit and just jam it in through there. I don't know, we'll see. Try the grease first. Just like that. And now we have beautiful holes and grease everywhere. Alright, let's give it a shot. Whew. I hope that is in. Feels like it. What a doozy. Just like that. Whew. Oh, fingers crossed that works. Well, it's in. About frickin' time, man. Been waiting for this day for so long. Now I finally have the shifter in place. So close to railing the climate control. Great. On to the next thing. Now we're gonna get on to making the switch panel, and luckily earlier I made this template with cardboard. I was gonna use a lot more switches, but it turns out it only really makes sense to have the starter, the fuel pump, and the ECU wired to switches with how the swap's going. So definitely don't need, we're gonna have a lot more room than we need, but if later I wanna expand, I'll have a whole bunch of room. So I picked up this is 22 gauge steel. It's very thin, but it has structure to it, which is why I picked it. I probably could have gone with something thinner, but I wasn't sure how it was gonna work. And if you're wondering how I made this, I had you know, just a big old cardboard flap, and I rubbed grease down on the metal parts that it's gonna connect to and bolt up to, and then I just sucked the cardboard against the metal, and then that gave me these lines to cut. So now we're gonna go have some fun with a plasma cutter. So the first order of business is to grab your chalk and your template, and you find a good spot to start marking out. I'm gonna use the corner since everything's relatively straight, and I can add a little bit more material if I want, which this actually needed. So just mark it off. I usually like to use dark Sharpie, but in this case all I have is chalk. Make sure to get a really good mark on there, or else it's going to be hard to see when you're cutting. So we've got our plasma cutter out, and one thing my dad taught me is to use something straight. If you want to make a good straight cut, you're going to have to grind it down anyways, because the plasma cutter just does jagged work. But put it next to what you're trying to cut, kind of like when you mark off something with a ruler. It's the same concept. So make sure it doesn't catch fire too. It should be metal.
They make a generic one that's like even that one's like 270 something. It's still too much. But
Wave did camera, Marcus.
Wave?
Yeah. Made a plate did garbage welds on it, but it's pretty solid. ECU is gonna sit there. Just right there under the dashboard. Super fancy. So, I tried to make a switch panel. I banged a lot of it up, as you can see in the light reflecting off of it. It's totally bent up, but the switches go in there, and I'm just gonna tack it in place because I can just work on the switches and all that stuff behind the panel when I get in the car. Marcus's four-wheel drive wagon.
You can do your makeup stuff.
So John got some sanding out. Did a pretty good job. I definitely need some dry ice because this is taking way too long. And this is what it looks like with the Infinity in there. Just the wires are just hanging out. I'll find a place for those later, but I really like the spot. It's just right there. Easy to see, easy to plug into on your laptop. Got the shifter in and just need a piece of plastic under it to shield it from the tunnel. Yeah. It's kind of coming together, I guess. Little by little. A little. Got my little AutoZone switchy. I'm gonna have a little blue glow, some obsessive blue. Starter button. It's a Marcus in high definition.
Yeah.
Fabricated 4 little L brackets. Put a riv nut on there. These are gonna hold in the switch panel. So I'm gonna tack these in place now. Now we're talking. Wow, one good weld. Not bad.
In his hands and the other guy knocked it out.
So many things to do. All this crap to wire in. Need more time, but it's Halloween. Time to get spooky. Till next time.